Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. We're here for the Susquehannock
Video newsletter.
video newsletter. We've got some good stuff for you too. We got a retrospective on the Hunt Valley Inn, which is where Shore Leave and Far Point and other
Monster Mania.
Nostalgicon, like where all kinds of things, have been, and all of those things are still going on, but not at the Hunt Valley Inn anymore. And I'm going to call it that because over the years, it was a Wyndham, it was a Marriott, it was a Marriott Delta, it was just Hunt Valley Inn. It was, so we're going to go over that. We've got a cool desktop from Mike. We've got a little argument type thing, a Siskel Ebert thing going on that we're going to talk about, something that's upcoming on Strange New Worlds. And then we'll give you a rundown of what's going on with the Susquehannock and maybe some
Star Trek
and stuff.
Some of the shows are coming back.
Some of the stuff that's okay. So we've got a full plate for you. So first thing we're going to start with is the Hunt Valley Inn, and we are going to show you some pictures and kind of just share some memories and stuff, because there are plenty of them.
Yeah.
So Carl, Dietrich, and Jordan and Jenny and I went down for the last weekend. If you haven't heard, they've sold the Delta Marriott, the Hunt Valley Inn, to a developer, so it's not coming back. So Shore Leave and Far Point both had to find new places, which I have that at the very end for you, where those are going to be. And so we went down just to take some pictures and stuff, and there was a dog show going on, which was kind of hilarious because I said the dog show people were probably wondering why all these nerds were wandering around taking pictures of hallways. It's like, you don't understand. Yeah, you don't understand. It's sorry. It's a dump, but it was our dump. So Doris and I first went. I actually looked it up with Shore Leave 16.
Wow.
And I worked with somebody who was a really big Star Trek fan, and he was able to get us free tickets.
Greaseman.
Yeah, Greaseman was his name, not the one that people know from DC. This was from a little tiny AM radio station in Hanover. And so free, who passes up free, right?
Absolutely, especially back in that time when we absolutely had nothing.
Yeah. we both were right out of college, so it was like, yeah. We have no money. Matter of fact, we couldn't afford to stay at the Hunt Valley Inn. We stayed at this Econo Lodge. That was such a dump. I mean, if anybody has stayed at the Hunt Valley Inn like last year, the Econo Lodge was like that.
Yeah, worse.
Was worse than that. Because back in the day, the Hunt Valley Inn was a little more, fancy. So this was the first one that we went to. This was the booklet that they gave us, and Tony Todd and Terry Farrell were a couple of the guests. Also a stuntman, Dennis Madelone. And they used to have, remember the Klingon jail?
Yeah, I remember them taking Tony Todd to the Klingon jail for charity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And remember my thing with Terry Farrell? We were back then, you had to sit in line for the autographs.
Yep.
Okay. There was no like calling numbers and all that stuff. So a lot of times you didn't hear them talk because you were sitting in line. And I was going, hey, Terry Farrell, yes. Jim.
We're at Hawks's.
Sorry. Um, this is doing it live.
That's right.
And I was like, Terry, I'm reading her thing. I'm like, Terry Farrell was a former model. I'm like, oh, geez. Well, when we met her, she was the nicest person. And so do you have anything more about the first? Oh,
I got a dress, a Deanna Troy dress, which I think I still have somewhere, which I don't think I could get into, sadly. It was beautiful. And I wore it to 10 Forward that night, back when they played good music at 10 Forward. And there was a Ferengi that came up to me and said, I sold you your dress. And I didn't know what the heck was going on here. It was the guy from the dealer's room that actually sold me my dress.
I sold you your dress.
How he said it. That's why I was kind of like, oh, what? Who? So, I mean, another thing I'd like to add about that first con was I remember Laura and I, and we're like, wow, I mean, it's kind of like an interstellar, like, you were referring to people as, oh, look at all the Klingons, look at all the Vulcans. I think back then people dressed up a little more. I mean, now you get it right around the masquerade, but it was all day there, and it was literally like you were walking through a Star Trek movie, and there were all these different races from the show and everything. I think another thing that's changed too is I think that then it was more Trek. Now it's kind of more universally sci-fi or whatever. But it was unlike anything I had ever attended before. You know what I mean? Like it was just like,
well, it was kind of like an interstellar UN.
Yeah.
Like it was like, my people. I found my people.
Yes, we did.
But yeah, I mean, Shore Leave did start out as like a Star Trek centric thing, but it has grown to include like, all the fandoms. Kind of like the USS Susquehannock.
Yes.
We're technically a Starfleet group, but we accept all people.
Yeah. Even those Star Wars people.
I found this and thought it was kind of hilarious. So if anybody's been in the last few years to the Hunt Valley Inn, you know that when the escalator was working, it would buck you off. You had to hold on because of the thing, and that half the time only one elevator was working.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this in the booklet, in the Shore Leave booklet. It was like the logical place to stay when attending Shore Leave and Farpoint. City luxuries without city limits. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Maybe once upon a time, but I mean, no offense to it. I mean, where are you going to find a place that's that big and has all that room? But I just thought that was funny, given the last few, years.
Yeah, they should do that. Luxury, what do they call them? Luxury items, and then they show you looking on the
stay at the luxury. Never.
Maybe have a scream as they fall down the rest of the escalator. Don't let us do it.
That's right. And of course, we love the indoor outdoor pools. I will say though, one time Jenny and I were in the pool, and there were a couple of people who were feeling frisky, let's put it that way. And we were kind of like, maybe go over to the hot tub. We were like, this is getting a little serious, people. And of course there was the little place where you could get a bite to eat. And I was reading something on that used to be like a Pizza Hut type thing. Cool. Like there was a little Pizza Hut inside the thing. I didn't remember that. And of course Maryland won one of the places where you went in and you know, where the dealers' rooms were. I remembers when the Wyndham took over, we got the horse theme because of the Preakness, you know, Maryland thing.
Yeah, and those large photos in your room that were too large for the room, where you felt like a horse was about to run over.
Horse is like looking at you.
Yeah.
Too. Hello. Now I'm gonna put a little thing in here. They told us that night, one of the people did, that there had been some thefts going on. And somebody that we know, who we won't name, actually did take the room number sign because they met at Shorely's.
I thought it was a sweet story.
And they honeymooned and stuff, and this was important to their, you know, to them. And I thought that was actually great, because it's not like, I mean, the whole thing's gonna wind up being torn down, so
Who
why
cares?
not?
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, all I got was a spoon.
It starts with a spoon,
That's
and that life of crime goes from there. Who knows? Next time it might be a fork.
That's right. And just wait till it's a knife. But this, you'll recognize this as the hallway where the ballrooms, you know, were. There was plastic down because of the dog show. But remember, Doris, like we used to, they had all the way at the end, they had them sitting, and we would be all sitting along here waiting for the autographs and stuff. You know, it was like, yeah, like I said, you never saw the people talk. They
Right.
did have a TV though. They had a TV, but you couldn't hear it because it was so loud and stuff. So
Yeah.
but you know, here's the inside of the ballroom, and down here the inside of the dealer's room, and of course there's some of those
Right.
pictures.
Yeah, I know. Well, the ballroom, that's where all the masquerades were, so that's kind of the big memory. And also 10 Forward, back when we used to
Yeah.
go to it.
And all
Being
of the
there.
talks and stuff that,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff. So I remember excuse me, I remember that first year that Shatner came, and he kind of was getting him, he was, you know, he's an old guy and he was getting himself in a little bit of trouble when he was talking about the ladies, you know. But you know, what would you expect from Captain Kirk?
This is true.
You know, Kate Mulgrew, I remember going to both of her talks.
Yeah.
Who do you remember like best for?
Nichelle Nichols. So one time I remember that she was there. The first time they did photo ops that we were there, I was there with another friend, and we went and got a picture with her. And usually they try to move the pictures along very fast because there's a whole lot of people that want them, and you only have so much time before the star has to go back and talk or be at their table or whatever. But she stopped both of us, shook our hands and asked our names, and
Aw.
just was really sweet, you know. I mean, she was just awesome. She's like one of the most awesome people I've ever gotten to briefly meet.
Yeah.
And I think that the other geez, it's really hard because I've met a lot of really cool people there.
I really enjoyed John Barrowman.
Yes.
He is so outrageous. He has no filter.
Yeah, if we ever see him again, I'm gonna go ahead of time to Lancaster County. I'm gonna pick him up a shirt that says intercourse, one that says bird in hands, and another one that says blue ball, because I would just love to see what he would have to say about those shirts. You know, that man can let's just say have very colorful descriptions of a lot of stuff, and I just think that might be a good conversation starter.
Yes.
Even if it's whether it's with me or whether he goes out wearing it, one of those shirts at one of the talks he does. I'd just be curious to see what his brain would come up with.
Oh my God, yeah, that's the truth.
You ever see him dress up like Wonder Woman? He really
Oh,
made a beautiful
yeah.
Wonder Woman.
oh, I know that man's got legs for days.
I know, he does, really.
Um, I oops,
Oh,
hold
whoopsies.
on. I'm like technical problems.
Yeah, and he's really good with children too, though. I mean, like you see, as raunchy as he can be, I've seen pictures and video of him, and he's just really good with kids.
Yeah, he's a fan himself. So he really, he kind of, treats fans like their family.
Yeah.
So these are some pictures. Um you often had to wait here
Hmm.
when you were in line for your photo ops. And since it was open to the outside, it could get hot in there, it could get rainy in there.
Yes, yes, it could.
Um, I remember one time though, and I always tell this story just because I think it was actually a Far Point that we went to. I found the thing for it. I was remembering it as Shorely, but it was Far Point. Jonathan Brandis was there, and he was probably what, maybe 17, 18 years old then.
Probably.
He was on Sequest DSV. Now I had never seen that and all, but oh my God, the young girls. Oh, they were just, he was like, the teen sex symbol type thing. And the line for getting his autograph and stuff was so long. And it got to the point where they needed that area. And so he actually went and set up somewhere up in here, on that second floor, because he was determined that every person who wanted to meet him, wanted to get an autograph and a picture or whatever, would be able to get it. And it just always touched me that he did that. And when I heard, years later that he had taken his own life, I was just like, it kind of broke my heart because I
Yeah.
remember him doing that, so so this was that area, and you can see like here and here they're already kind of
Giving up on it.
yeah. But remember this and in here had various names. It wound up being Vic's place after the Deep Space Nine, but do you want to tell the Sam story?
Oh yeah, the one
Not
guy,
to get sad
I
here.
know, but she was worth talking about. She was just a sweet person. And I think Laura and was Jenny along at the time? I can't
I
remember if there was a
think
third
so.
person because I thought there was three of you that.
Yeah, I feel like there was.
Yeah, so anyway, we were there at the karaoke, or what we used to call the croaky, because
Because they
sometimes it
always
was.
held it inside Vic's place.
Yeah. So anyway, we were sitting at a table next to, what is this? What is their chapter called?
It was Serling.
The Serling, some people from the Serling were at one table, we were at the next table, and we were over there. We fancied ourselves, performers, and we're kind of chair performing at our table and singing along with everybody else. Next thing we know, we look over, Sam's joined us in the chair performance, and we decided at one point that we should go up and do a performance of our own. Only one of us had to hold the phone to video us, which I held the phone. And which probably was a good thing because glass would have broken probably if I would have sung. So Laura and I believe Jenny,
yes.
and Sam got up and
we sang "I Will Survive."
Yeah.
First I was alone.
I know. And she was just such a great person, a lot of fun and everything. Sadly, she developed cancer and has since passed away, I think about a year or two ago.
Yeah.
But
she was just a good-hearted person.
Yeah, she just was very sweet. And I know she was a lot into the fairy festivals and stuff.
Yes.
Kind of the Renaissance looking stuff.
And even when she was in hospice, she would be posting on Facebook like such positive messages and stuff.
Yes, she did. And I'll miss her a lot.
Sam McMullen, I'm so glad. I mean, I only got to actually meet her in person that one time, but I'm so glad I did. But that, I mean, that's just it. You do meet people
Yep.
at conventions, especially Shore Leave and Farpoint are fan run, and they're just a different type of convention.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's our stories with that. Okay. Huh? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
So-
Here, let our captain tell
yeah,
the
let
story.
our captain tell one of his stories.
Well, the first thing about Shore Leave that I remember looking back on things was, we had just walked into the lobby for Shore Leave. And I think it was like a Friday before things really got started. And we walked in and there was Kevin Sorbo. And, we actually got to talk to him directly. And at the time we were doing a raffle and Carl Dietrich actually sold Kevin Sorbo a raffle ticket. And that Sunday, we were pulling the tickets and he actually won. So we had to call Kevin Sorbo on the phone and tell him he won, and he just said, go ahead, go on to the next person. But I mean, but again, the money we were generating for the raffle went to charity, so I think it was, pretty nice that he bought the ticket, put up with us. So I mean, like I said, that's the first thing that comes to mind looking back on things.
Yeah.
That and the guy that played Tilk in Stargate.
Yes.
I think we're coming up the escalators the one time, and there he was at the top of the escalators talking to a bunch of people, and we got to talk to him right there as well.
I cannot come up with his
Me
name, but
neither.
he was hanging out in the bar. He was having a great time just hanging with everybody,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember actually seeing him sprinting towards the bar and stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe all of us had driven him crazy.
I have
That's
another thing to add to the whole Kevin Sorbo thing. I mean, I may not necessarily agree with his politics, but he, we had a member of our chapter, she got a photo op with him that she paid for. For whatever reason, the photo op, disappeared. I don't know what happened, and she went to, I don't know if they eventually got resolved or not. Because I'm no longer in contact with this person, but I remember she went to his table and told him what happened. And she got a whole bunch of really funny pictures. Like, I think there was one where they were the Charlie's Angels and they were kind of standing back to back. And there was one where he was on the floor, like on his knees, kind of looking like he was pleading with her, and she was going like this. And I mean, just funny pictures. So
she always got the best pictures.
yeah.
Remember with John Barrowman, she got one of him like grabbing her finger.
Yeah.
She always got the best pictures.
But yeah, I mean, there was just, there's probably, if I thought about it, even more stories, but I can't,
Yeah, we don't
want to take up the whole time with just ours.
And excuse my just turning things around.
Yeah.
We're just not that, we're-
Savvy yet.
Yeah, well, we're, what do you want? We're working for free. But
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
but I think Mike has a story too that he'd like to tell.
Yeah, it's, just like she said with the other one who set his room aside, one that impressed me as a star there when we had to stand in the long lines, was Denise Crosby. She was down with her line, and for some reason that day, she had to leave. So rather than just disappearing and not giving any more autographs, she actually walked down the autograph line, signing everybody's autograph as she went. So, I mean, that was an impressive, something from a star who took being there seriously. And that
Oh,
was a memorable one.
how nice.
That's cool.
And because we're kind of waxing poetic, I am going to just stress one more time. Shore Leave is not over. Farpoint is not over. It's just the hotel. But we have a lot of memories of the hotel. So that's why,
Yeah.
and darn it, you're gonna have to listen to it.
Yes. Jim has another one.
Oh,
Interesting piece of Susquehannock history.
Oh, no.
There was a group of 4 of us that went to Shore Leave. We decided to join Starfleet, and they went up to the Region 7 table to get the memberships. And I remember specifically, I went into the bathroom, I came out, and we were going to form a chapter. I remember thinking to myself, how long was I in there? So the four of us got together and formed a chapter, and that's what started this whole mess.
Yes,
So,
it did. I forgot
Well,
about that.
that's a good story. That's a good history.
Yeah, so a little bit of
But-
Susquehannock history there. Yeah, I remember we were out there trying to find a chapter. There wasn't any chapter in our area. So we, they were like, well, you could start a chapter. I remember it was Annie from the DeBrack, who ended up being, the DeBrack ended up being our mothership. And, she told us how we could do it, and we thought we could do it because you needed 5 members to start. And we had 4 people there that were interested right off the bat, and we knew of some other people who might be interested. So we figured we could do it, and here we are. That was in 2008.
yes,
So,
yes.
Yeah. And that's how it all began.
Yep.
So I just took some pictures here. Like, I mean, there'd always be people hanging out here. I don't think I ever heard this actually played, but I'm sure it was at some point. The restaurant, the
Cinnamon
bar,
tree, I
the
think it was.
cinnamon tree, yeah, and stuff. So, yeah, so that's some of our memories of the Hunt Valley Inn. I did talk to some people from STAT, because if you don't know, the people who started it was the, all of a sudden I forgot.
Did he
Star
meet-
Trek
You
Association.
should have
Yeah.
Towson, yes, the Star Trek Association of Towson. Ooh, it just went out of my head. And you hear people sometimes bitch and complain and stuff. But I mean, for an organization to be able to put on something for 44 years, 46 years, and it has expanded so much. And for about 40 of those years, they were at the Hunt Valley Inn. So that's why, we're all kind of waxing poetic about,
Yeah.
a building, because we spent so much time there.
Yeah.
And I promised that I would tell you. So shore leave, and keep in mind, this is for this year. Whether these will become the permanent places, who knows? But shore leave found their new home in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at the Wyndham Resort and Convention Center. It looks like a really nice place from the photos. There's an indoor pool, outdoor pool, just like at the Marriott. There's like a golf course near. I think there's mini golf. There's a couple of different restaurants, and it's right across from Dutch Wonderland. So if anybody has kids, they might make a trip over there. There's a ton of hotels too. So, if you don't get a room there, or it's too expensive for you, there's a lot of choice around there, a lot of choice. And it's right along Route 30. It's right along the main drag, basically. So, and they did have to move the weekend slightly. So it's going to be the 26th to the 28th next year. And then Farpoint, who, that was coming up in February. So they were really, really scrambling, but
Yeah.
they found a DoubleTree by Hilton in Pikesville, Maryland, which it's not bad. It's maybe 20 minutes from where Hunt Valley was. So it's not far. Free parking, all that stuff. It's not in the city. So they found their new home, and this is actually showing too, because of course they already have their guests lined up.
And they're a little earlier than usual, because I thought theirs was right around President's Day.
Oh,
before.
yeah.
So, but they're actually pretty close to the dates, both cases.
I don't often anymore go down to Farpoint because it costs as much as shore leave, but I don't feel like you get as much for your money. But just to kind of support them this year, I might go down.
Yeah.
I have come to really, really enjoy Star Trek Lower Decks. So it might be cool to meet Tawny Newsome. And I wonder if Jay Lee will know by then if we're ever going to see another season of The
I
Orville.
know, I really hope so. I really enjoyed that show.
I mean, between you know, the normal questions of that type of thing, we had the writer strike and the actor strike, so we'll see. You know what other show I was thinking about that was the one with Alan Tudyk,
Brown,
the Alien.
no, the Alien. Oh,
Uh,
yes, yes.
what the
Show's
heck
great.
is that?
Resident
Resident Alien.
All of us, we have a memory.
Exactly. If we go between everybody, we will piece it together. Because I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, it's been at least 2 years since, you
Yeah,
know, and I'm like, I really like that show, you know, but I mean, it is a sci-fi network show, and we know how badly they treat their shows. So
yeah.
who knows? But anyway, let's get on to things here because woo, there we are again.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so we're gonna take a little
We're talking to you about upcoming Star Trek shows and movies. Yes. There is going to be at least right now, they're saying a Star Trek 4. That one actually got tabled a couple times. Like, it didn't go off the list completely, but people weren't sure about it, including the actors and everything. What they were saying is it's not officially confirmed or canceled at this time. But it seems that some work is underway. What it said on there was it used to use a term from Doctor Who. See, I had to think there a second. It's a timey-wimey adventure that features Kirk joining forces with his dead father, who was hopefully to be played by Chris Hemsworth. Because as you remember, in the one movie,
yes.
Chris Hemsworth was, his father who ended up getting killed
yeah.
in this alternate timeline.
He was also the one who gave him the middle name Tiberius.
Yes. But anyway, that is what Digital Spy is saying right now. We'll see what happens, but I kind of, for one, hope that they do it. I mean, I know there are some people that don't like the whole reboot thing, but I just find it interesting, and anything that keeps Star Trek out there in public and stuff is, for this major Trekkie, a good thing.
I just hope J.J. Abrams has less to do with it, because I feel like he didn't respect Trek as much. I did like Star Trek Beyond though, but part of
Yes.
the thing with that was that Jesus, why can't I remember? Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg co-wrote that, and Simon Pegg is a geek himself, so
Yeah, well, he's supposed to, at least from this source, he's supposed to be in the new one. In fact, everybody is supposed to be coming back, as from what they are saying, except of course, Anton Yelchin. Yeah, they're not sure whether they will be recasting that or not. I kind of wonder if they won't, because it's kind of hard to just throw somebody else in there, but I don't know for sure. So there it is. It's basically, maybe it will, maybe it won't at this point. I would like to see it, because I mean, that premise kind of seems interesting to me. I always like time traveling shows.
yeah, me too.
So then another thing that's going to be coming up is there's a new series, and I when I told this to my husband just recently, he said, oh, they've been talking about that forever, that's not going to happen, but apparently it looks like it's going to happen. Is a Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which will feature adventures by the actual cadets from Starfleet. Well, not actual, because they're not in real life, but blasphemer.
Of course it's all real.
It isn't real. And then there's going to be a Star Trek Section 31, which features Michelle Yeoh, who is an amazing actress. She is the whole reason I started watching Discovery, although Discovery, which will be going into its last season coming up, was wonderful for me the first couple couple seasons, but I kind of got out of it when they shot him ahead 900 years or whatever. And Laura, of course, that's another Siskel and Ebert thing with us, although I'm with her on the latter part of it. But anyway, Michelle Yeoh's character had been, oh gosh, I'm brain farting out on this. She had been a good character, and then they went to an alternate universe, and the good character had gotten, before they went to alternate universe, the good character had gotten killed off.
Spoiler alert.
Well, it was
I
the
know.
first episode.
I know.
So basically they got alternate universe, Georgia, Captain Georgia or something like
Yeah,
that.
Georgia.
Georgia.
Giorgio, it's sounds Greek.
Yeah,
Port Prada,
I can't remember. I should have written it down. But that naughty character that Michelle Yeoh is portraying is the evil anti-hero is what they were calling her. She will be the center of Star Trek Section 31, which is a series that is coming up. Lower Decks, it looks like they're expecting expected in summer of 2024, according to ScreenRant.com.
I just want to say one quick thing about Lower Decks. When I first started watching it, because I'm not a huge cartoony type fan, I was kind of like, is this just gonna, I don't know. It has gotten better and better every season. I just watched the season finale, and they bring back some different races and different characters. Like they just brought back Nick Locarno, from the episode with where him and Wesley and some of the Lower Decks people had tried a maneuver that killed one of their fellow cadets and stuff. I mean, they dive deep to some of the characters. So that's just my quick plug for Lower Decks.
See, that's a show that I started out and then I stopped watching, but now we're both, after hearing other people talk about it, my husband and I are going, maybe we should go back and just kind of go through it. And
yeah, it's gotten better and better.
Yeah, so that one's coming up, and Star Trek Prodigy is apparently picked up by Netflix and we'll be having a season 2. That's one that I tried again. I didn't really get into after the first couple episodes. It's one where Captain Janeway's hologram basically guides these youngsters, on adventures and stuff, but maybe I'll hear from other people that got wonderful and I'll go back and watch that one too. And I saved the best for last because right away when I started talking about this, when we got here today, Laura and I started our whole Siskel and Ebert thing. Well, first I'll tell you before we get into what we're arguing about. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. We all love it. Well, most of us love it seems.
We love it.
And it's because of the actors' strike and everything, it got delayed. And it will be starting production next month, or next week maybe, next month is the beginning next week. So basically they'll be doing it, I don't know, maybe through the summer or something. So there's no real release date for that yet. But I'm wondering if it'll be December of next year. I don't know. Speculation, total speculation. But one of the episodes that they were talking about doing would be a Muppet episode, according to Melissa Navia, who plays Erica Ortega's, that they might do an episode that would be Muppet. And I think that's just Jim Dandy.
I think it's awful.
I came in fully expecting her to be like, yay, and she's like, you gotta be kidding.
I know. I mean, I just had the worst reaction. Listen, I wasn't a fan of the singing dancing one either. I just don't think a show like Strange New Worlds needs these, these sort of trick, like, ooh, look at this, like, why do we need to do that? People are watching it.
It's just fun. It's just like a funny episode. And I was bringing up to Laura about how Supernatural did it. And I love that episode. It's just something fun they could do because to some degree, you've got a lot of Strange New Worlds episodes that are traditional, but not quite as dark as some of the most recent things. But then they do some comedic episodes. And I think this would be freaking hilarious. I mean, can you picture Spock as a Muppet? I mean,
don't want to. I do not mind comic episodes. I think they are needed for drama shows, and I appreciate them. But I just can't see, hi, I'm Spock,
What about the Klingons? That would be a hoot and a half. I'm coming on, they're all tough and they're Muppets, pushing on
I
there.
just don't think this is the type of show for it. Supernatural, especially in the latter parts, had gotten, well, it also was a very meta show. It was, Supernatural was always sort of referring back to the fact that it was a show and stuff. It kind of worked for that, some of the silly ones. I don't want to see Spock singing and dancing. I don't want to see him as a Muppet.
Well, they're not necessarily in this episode going to have him.
Logic.
They're not going to necessarily have him singing and dancing as Muppets, but they might have him. You know how Muppets do? They pound on each other, they eat each other. I mean, they do whatever.
One torpedo. Two torpedoes.
Count Spocula.
Now that I might watch.
And good and well that when they actually do this episode, if they do, I mean, I guess it's not definite now, but a lot of the actors are getting behind it, or at least 3 of them are. I don't know. But anyway, if they do it, of course, you're going to have this Siskel and Ebert afterwards, because Laura and I are sure to be on opposite ends of that, as we were with the musical episode. But I'd be curious to see what you guys all think about a possible Muppet Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode.
Yes, comment and let us know what you think,
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. All right, well, moving on, because I know we're taking up a lot of your time. We're going to let our EXO do his desktop, and I think he's got something interesting for you. So once again, we're gonna
Here we go.
turn around.
Disney, close
So,
your eyes for
yeah.
a minute.
All right. So welcome to this issue of the newsletter. With this one being the one that wraps up the year. I hope everyone had a good year. We as a ship, we're doing great this year, getting more active, seeing new members come in. So we're definitely glad the way we're going again. What I wanted to bring up today was what some people don't know about maybe is that as part of Starfleet, they have a Starfleet Academy. And you can actually take multitude of classes there. Just right off their website, you can find out there are 14 different institutes with 130 colleges and 3,432 different exams. So there is something for everyone there. Just as an example, some of them, there's one of alien studies, which covers like the Bajoran, the Cardassians, the Borg, the Klingons, the Vulcans. So you get in, there'll be multiple classes telling you about the species. Then you take your tests. There's arts and entertainment. They'll cover things such as actors that do the shows, the movies, music, because not everything is related to just Star Trek. There's many different things they have in there.
Does the music one explain why we had to have a musical episode?
She's bitter or anything.
Well, maybe they'll have to do that. There's fantasy and horror colleges, intelligence and espionage, international, so real life stuff. A lot of this, they have the real life things. There's a medical college. There's a public safety colleges. There's even military. And this is beyond what the Starfleet Marines have as an academy that you can take and do all the Marine courses. So being part of Starfleet gives you plenty of options and plenty of things to do.
They're all of them are free if you're part of Starfleet?
All are free. Now, there may be, what they do now, most of them are in what they call a mogul modal courses. They, you go online, you actually get the exam right there in a PDF form or even right online. They send, you can download the manual so you can read, follow along. I've taken a bunch recently and that's exactly what I did. I download the manual they send you for that particular college. Then you go into the exam. While it's pulled up on your computer, you look at the answer, flip pages, look for the answer, and pick your answer. Quite easy to do, fun to do. Most of the directors of these colleges get them graded. Well, actually, the Moodle ones, a lot of them are graded as soon as you're done taking the test. So it just takes the director a couple days to get it uploaded to the database to show that you've taken and passed the class. But you get the option right away to download a certificate for the class. So everything's right at your fingertip. It's so easy to use. So take some classes, take a peek. You can either find it by going through the Starfleet International website, which is sfi.org, and Member Hub, and then they'll show you the web pages. Just follow down through, it's all through steps. Or you can go directly to the college, which is of course, the https://es.sfi.org. That'll take you to the main page. And then from there, you would get into the mobile courses. And you'll have to sign up the first time you go into it, create your login and everything. But it is so easy to use. So feel free to check it out. I think you'll find something for everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Mike.
That was the sanest part of our.
I know. I know.
That's why we have the extra.
That's right. That is what he's there for.
Yes.
All right. And I think we're just gonna finish up with upcoming events.
Yes, Christmas party next week. Our next Saturday, December 2nd, be there and be a square. See what I did there? And then I'm not really sure of the date of this. Maybe one of the other people is, but I know there is going to be a budget night at Carl's place, Carl Dietrich's place.
And that's coming up in January, but we need to tie down a date. I also want to just a little plug with the Christmas party. If you've never been before, come out and see us. We have a good time. We get a lot of people come out. I do games, there's prizes. We just really have a nice time. And also we're going to be doing the official vote on our new bylaws.
That's a good point. So we should, that's
So
so be there.
Yes, be there.
And then I know we are maybe in February doing an event with the solstice in State College.
Yeah, we're still working on that.
That's still in the works. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up that I know we've talked about is maybe by March, we could do a private tour at the wolf sanctuary so that we could visit our adopted wolf, Nova, correct? And private tour is $45 a person. It is a little bit pricey, but you get more personal, attention talking to the guide, and you get to see all the wolves.
Right, yeah. And charities in general are hurting. They're still making up for missed revenue during COVID, and then with inflation and stuff too, and donations are down. So, anything that we can do, to help out. So I always feel better about spending that kind of money if it's going to a charitable organization. So yeah, that would be good. And we may too, like if we do decide to do Farpoint in February, we'll let you guys know too, in case, you want to meet us. But yeah, we've been wanting to do that tour for a while.
Yeah, it's well worth it. I mean, we've both been, I think, to the regular tours, and then they do this wonderful full moon tour where you can come out and they just have guides different places, and you can just go and listen a little bit, and then they have a bonfire, and you can bring marshmallows or hot dogs or whatever, and they usually have a band, and it's really a big to do and worth it. But this is the one thing I haven't done yet and I would love to do, and I think it's well worth it because these guides, they just really love what they do. They're volunteers there, they're doing it out of love, not out of making money. And I know the guide we had on our last tour had been there since the beginning and just had some really interesting stories. They're trying to raise money to have a medical facility there, so they don't need to transport stress out the wolves too much or trank them too much, because obviously they're wild animals and you can't just walk up and have a doctor start examining them.
Yeah.
They have since gotten a place now where they can now butcher the food for because if somebody hits a deer, oftentimes they'll donate it. This way they have a place right there. This guy talked about having to cut up something out in the freezing cold and your hands are freezing off. So it's very nice that they have that facility, and hopefully they can keep going. And they're rescuing these wolves. I mean, these are wolves that probably ordinarily would be put down
Yeah.
if people didn't have a place to go like this. And they live a wonderful life there.
Yeah.
I mean, they know the guides, and
Yeah.
they just seem to have a real peaceful and calm existence.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's worth your $45 admission to go to something like this, because it is nonprofit, and it doesn't go to some big wig, it goes to the wolves, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. So save up your Christmas money and put it aside for
Yeah, for a wonderful day.
for a wonderful day. Yes. And it's always best to see them while the weather's still cool, because the wolves are not real fond of the heat.
No, they're
So
not.
I think in another life I was a wolf.
He must have been. I think
So I
that,
think that's it.
yep.
Yes,
I know
that's
that
it.
you're sad because we're coming to the end of yet another
I
one of our
know.
very entertaining newsletters. At least we entertain ourselves,
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, so let us know too, like what you think of the video newsletters. We're having fun doing it. So
Yeah,
I hope you like it. We have talked about eventually doing like a YouTube channel for the group and stuff. So we can put these there, as well as other things and stuff. So there's a lot coming up, and if you want to be a part of it, please come out and feel free to like take the lead, and stuff on things. We're looking for new ideas and stuff. So that is my little pitch there. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Wonderful Christmas is coming up, New Year's. Have a great time, and we'll see you in the new year.
yay. Or next week in the old year.
That's right. Just come to the Christmas party.
Yes.